Oh, welcome back. I'm playing hurt today, boys. Clearly, uh, this is what happens when you spend outside at a snow game. Then you're outside during the week in this weather of Michigan that's 90, then 50, then -6, and now 60 again as of yesterday, and back to the 40s, and then snow on Tuesday. It's the worst, but I'm here. It was too big of a weekend to say like, hey, I can't do this today. It's too big of a weekend. So I'm here fighting through it. I look like shit.
Shouldn't
I
problem.
look like I have literally been socked in the face by Mike Tyson. But Notre Dame dominates. The Bears are 7-3. It's a great weekend. It's a, the Bears have a chance to be the first place in the division.
We'll check back with that after next week.
I we
Oh,
just need the Eagles to do something.
I need the
we're-
Eagles to do something.
I mean,
it's all on you, Trevor. This is all on your shoulders.
Yeah,
yeah, it
Our
is.
happiness rides on your football team.
welcome to the club.
So we have a lot of football stuff, college and NFL. But first, Trevor, what pie do you want?
I thought we were just doing like the tin and then the whipped cream.
Well, I figured that, but I thought it was funny to bring up different types of pies that could smash in your face.
Well, to be fair, I could eat one of these afterwards.
You could eat it off your
So,
face.
are you gonna bake a cake and then hit me in the face with it, and then I get to eat it?
Maybe. So these are the types that I have pictured here. I have apple, chocolate, pecan, meat pie,
Ew.
Ugh.
lemon meringue, key lime, pumpkin, and blueberry.
I think I'm between the chocolate and maybe the lemon meringue.
Yeah.
I could get in some of that action. To be fair, it doesn't look like it, but we were kind of close.
No, it was close. So kind of, but not really. Trevor, you went 3-6. I went 5-4. Jerry, who was not in this, went 4-5.
About
So in,
middle. So I do
in
every
the
week.
middle, in the middle. On the season, Jerry is 41-37. Trevor's 43-47,
Oh god.
and I am 48-42.
I am taking a whoop. This week really hurt me. I was trying to get really weird this week to like make sure that we had a lot of differences. Um, it didn't go very well, but I was, I know almost is only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, but there was a few that if they would have just went my way a little bit more. But I feel like the Oklahoma should count as two.
No, everyone
No,
takes
then
upsets here and there.
then
We're not
then
doing that. And for
then
the entire
Clemson for me
sport,
counts as two.
no,
The-
no. For my sanity, Trevor, just don't pick pecan, however you say it, same thing, because I want your nose intact. That feels like
Yeah.
that'd be very painful.
Yeah,
But-
like a hand grenade exploding in my face.
or your eyeballs, because if it hits hard enough, that's shooting. That's that's how to do that. I do want to see Caleb bake this. I think that would make it even funnier.
Yeah.
You can't go to the local grocery store and do this. You can't have like a nice pre-made cake, pre-made pie. I want it homemade because that's more content. We're thinking now. We're
I
thinking
can do
big
that.
brain.
I can do that.
V.O.C. baking channel.
One of my classes in college, one of the experiments was like you had to like come up with your own like experiment of like how to create something two different ways. And I did cake with like cake batter and eggs, and then the other was cake batter and then like Sprite. And yeah, I had to see like the difference of like the rise.
That's a Michigan State education,
Yeah,
baby.
it is.
Party.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my god.
It was perfect. I got an A+ on the assignment.
Really?
Of course I did. Why wouldn't I? Creativity. Creepy photo says, "Welcome back, gents. Get well, Caleb. Yeah, I'm dying. I'd much rather have a shotgun down my throat." Um, so now we're into the coaching circus. I like to call it the coaching circus. I think this is a great name for it because nobody knows what the hell's going on or what is going to happen. It started out with this was kind of funny. Before the game, Mike Elko in Texas A&M announced he's getting a 6-year contract with a new salary north of $11 million, making him a top 5 paid coach. Looks like reports come out today. Mike Locksley will come back as Maryland's coach in 2026. He's 37-47 in 7 seasons at Maryland.
Let's go.
They're going to put more money behind the program. So we'll see. This is not Wisconsin putting more money behind Luke Fickell. James Franklin of Virginia Tech are in early talks about him becoming the coach there. This is per Pete Thamel. I guess we'll know more this week, kind of if this is legit or not. They're still doing a search and all that, so we'll see. And then Shane Beamer's future at South Carolina. So he got a contract extension last season. So his buyout's now $30 million. So it's looking less and less like he's going to be fired. But he is 32-29 in 5 seasons there, and 3-7 this season, and they have blown multiple second half double-digit leads. I'd fire him personally.
Well, and there was a lot of expectations on the South Carolina team. Lenore Sellers is still, I think, in a lot of people's minds, an NFL quarterback in some degree. He takes some of the craziest sacks I've ever seen. But regardless, this was a South Carolina team that had a lot of hype, especially after last year. They were really good. They're kind of that hot team this time of year that was trying to itch towards the playoffs, fall just short. They lose the bowl game. They act like the bowl game doesn't matter because that's what you do when you lose a bowl game. And this year has just been a dumpster fire. That A&M game it really encapsulates this season. I don't want to say it encapsulates all the Shane Beamer tenure, but very much this season, which you go into Kyle Field, all the talent that was kind of the centerpiece of why people think Carolina was going to be good shows out. Nick Harbor has a great half. Sellers has a great half. It's all clicking, and then it just fell apart. And it's funny because I like the fact you put Virginia Tech and South Carolina right next to each other, because if I am South Carolina, you don't really want to fire him. I get it. It's expensive, and as we kind of keep going through this circus, carousel, whatever you want to call it, it's getting crazy. So teams stepping away and saying, well, wait a year. One, that just means next year's also going to be crazy. It might just be more like a lot of mid-tier jobs, like who can elevate the program. But if I'm South Carolina, I'm like, hey, Blacksburg's lovely this time of year. You know that, right? Your dad knows that. He told you a lot of good things. He brought you up there, right? Maybe a little like nice glowing recommendation, nicest letter of recommendation you could get from the athletic staff there in South Carolina. But if that job closes, there's a lot, then the dominoes start falling, because we're still kind of in that phase where it's who's going to strike first, like what school strikes first and what coach goes with it. The Elko thing, he's a great coach. My only question is, has A&M learned anything? I don't think Elko's Jimbo Fisher. I'm not saying that. I want that to be very clear. But didn't we just do this? Didn't we just do this when your coach wasn't really in the coaching carousel circus picture because he already gets paid handsomely and was doing well? You're like, let's give him a big extension. That's not going to bite us in the butt. Can I introduce you to Jimbo Fisher? That's my only question. So there's a group of thoughts all in one. But yeah, we're going to talk more about South Carolina at some point in this show. That was insane.
Well, and it's hard with Shane Beamer too, because he's had such kind of a like record-wise mid-time at South Carolina, and as we all know, the tolerance level for being mid in the SEC is not very high. So I could see him getting fired. I think he's a good coach, so maybe he can go somewhere else and coach there. James Franklin at Virginia Tech kind of is shocking to me. I think about it a little bit. It makes sense, but I was kind of maybe expecting him to get some other jobs that maybe not on the Penn State level, but like in Arkansas or maybe even like a Florida or something along those lines. But yeah, I don't know anything about the dude from Maryland, and Mike Elko deserves it. So
I think when you look at like James Franklin, and I talked about this with my dad yesterday when Notre Dame was playing Pitt, and it was like Pat Narduzzi used to be the defense coordinator at Michigan State for a long time. And it was like, why did he never go back to Michigan State? And I think you look at it and you go, why would I leave an ACC school to go to the Big Ten right now? And I think if you're James Franklin, you look at it and go, I can go to the ACC. It's a mess when it comes to like who's the best team or how did these guys get in the conference. I mean, if Duke would have won, it'd been like, oh, Duke's in the driver's seat for the ACC championship at 5-4. So I think if you're James Franklin, you look at it and go, why would I go to the SEC? When Shane Beamer was supposed to have a good team, I mean, he has a couple, I would say, first-round picks. Dylan Stewart on the defense side is definitely a top 10 pick next year, and he's 3-7 right now.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to worry about that. So he's looking at it and go, I'll go to the ACC, East Coast. I have been in that area recruiting-wise. I kind of understand it. I know it. Looks like they're going to put some money on it. money into it. So yeah, I would definitely do that if I was James Franklin. It's like, okay, why would I go to the SEC? I'm gonna get 3 years, and if I struggle there, I'm fired. Like I wouldn't worry about
Well,
that.
and that's what I was gonna ask this question. With him going to like the ACC, is that more pressure or less pressure?
Way less.
Because, but if you go to the ACC and James Franklin is a guy now, he's going to the ACC because he is, expecting to be at the top of the ACC eventually. Maybe not his first year there or whatever, but eventually be at the top of the ACC, and he never gets there. That seems like maybe a little bit of pressure to me too, but I definitely
No,
think it.
it is very similar to the pressure like Bill Belichick at North Carolina.
Yeah,
where it's
yep.
like the ACC is not good. You're expected to come in and win, and if it's not, it's going to be way worse. But I don't. I mean, I think James Franklin's a better college coach than Bill Belichick. That's proven. But no, there would definitely still be pressure of like, hey, we're going to pay you. We made a hard swing at you. You should be able to succeed.
Yeah. Well, and it's like too, it's like even if he does go to Virginia Tech, it's not going to be like, cheap to get him.
No.
He's still going to have some sort of competitiveness when it comes to like contracts towards him. So, yeah, I think it would be a big swing for Virginia Tech. The more you talk about it, Caleb, I start to see it a little bit more. I do kind of like that.
It would be a home run for Virginia Tech to do this. Now, again, the literal multi-million-dollar question here is if Virginia Tech will invest. Virginia Tech is one of the poorest in the ACC when it comes to overall budgets. That this is not me saying this. This is Virginia Tech saying this. They've done this in their board of like regents. Everyone has their own name for these things. Like they've had this thing in the past. You have to put money into it. So I do think that does increase some level of pressure here because to get James Franklin, I think one of the holdups of getting James Franklin right now is will Virginia Tech invest? It's not a bad job. I think this is getting lost in the sauce a little bit. Blacksburg's a place that really cares about its program. People show up every game. Enter Sandman is a college football tradition for a reason. You can be successful there. And if there's anybody who's shown how to recruit the Northeast, it is James Franklin. But he's not going to come cheap, and he's going to demand resources. This is what he did at Penn State. One of the reasons Penn State, in my mind, is one of the best jobs out there, and to our minds too, right? I don't think I'm breaking news there with this.
Yeah.
Is he slowly built up Penn State for what it needed. Like, yes, it had the tradition, but it didn't have the facilities. It didn't have this, didn't have that. He took time and got it there, right? So if you're hiring James Franklin, you're hoping he does the same thing. That's a lot to put on a person, but he's not, you're going to give him a lot of money to do it. You're going to have to also give him the time to do it. But this is a home run if they get it, but it isn't going to come at a multi-million-dollar cost for him, the roster, and everything else he's going to demand from Virginia Tech. And that's going to make, I think that's where the pressure comes in more than anything. It may not be immediate wins or losses, but it will be, are you building this up? Are you getting those recruiting classes? Are you doing all those things? And mind you, Brent Pry was supposed to be that guy too. So there is a level here of like, Brent Pry is a young, spry coach. He understands the area. He understands Virginia Tech. He's going to build it up over years. He kept preaching the process, and it didn't work. So all these things add up, but if they are to get it, I think it is a true home run.
Yeah, and I think the other thing with James Franklin, we'd forget about it because he did build up Penn State to win Big Ten titles, make it to the playoff, is he took over Penn State. It was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, Bill O'Brien was there a year, ditched him, ran away from what the uphill battle was going to be there. He built it up to where it's like, whoa, Virginia Tech's similar. I mean, they've been terrible. I mean, they've been awful. The last time that they have won 9 games was 2017. The last time they won 8 games was 2019. The last time they won 10 games was 2016. 3-7 this year, 6-7 last year, 7-6, 3-8, 6-7, 5-6, 8-5, 6-7, 9-4, 10-4.
Yeah.
It's been the last 10 years. They're awful. So, yeah, I mean, you're looking to get a guy that can come in and change it without a doubt. Do everything you can and make it really good.
Well,
here with the
6-7.
6-7.
And then another kind of, I guess, I don't know if this is really a question, but like if he kind of doesn't succeed at Virginia Tech, I think that James Franklin has to be kind of careful where he goes next because he already got the boot from Penn State. And I just don't think it's very likely that to get maybe the boot again from the next place you go if you're going to find yourself having a job in Division I college football. I think he's a great coach. I think he can do it. But sometimes, like you said, he's got to have the resources. He's gonna demand the resources. But I think he's just got to be careful. He has to be successful at least somewhat. Because getting fired from back to back would be not great for the resume.
Well, and that's kind of the risk here, and why everyone's kind of at the standstill right now. Yeah. I think that's kind of this point here, is that there is legacy and reputation on the line in this situation. Like, yes, James Franklin has a lot of value. James Franklin has a lot of those cards, but there is that thought, like, yeah, do I go to Virginia Tech? They'll take me, no problem, right? I don't think he's worried about not getting a job, but where he goes next can determine a lot about how we think about him. Even if he fails at his next job, I think James Franklin's a very good coach. I'm not going to, if we're talking long-term resume, absolutely. But this sport is changing, and that's a very, very fair question, assertion, and thing to understand in this moment, because a lot of these hires, no matter where they come from, no matter who joins the circus next, because there are going to be teams that do that at some point. I don't think we're done, right, we're at a point where not everyone's going to be happy. You're going to have some people on opening press conference day. They're going to have to win their press conference. There's going to be people, as soon as the announcement's made, that it's already won, right? It doesn't really matter until you win on Saturdays. That's always the hard part about these things. But when you try to make these these hires, you're hoping that you could find the things that make sense. It would be a home run right now. Who knows? Again, Kurt Signetti, good, fantastic coach every other place, went to the most losing program in college football and then turned them into the not most losing football program in college football. Sorry, Northwestern. But that's – some of these things hit, some of these things don't. But that's kind of also where these standstills come in, and most importantly, money. But, yeah, if that's the first domino that falls, though, things are going to go like this, because I think we're kind of all just in a holding pattern. As soon as the money comes out, as soon as the decision's made, then people are going to start scrambling and panicking. So it really is kind of like you're sitting at the fault line waiting for the earthquake. And once it happens, things are going to start rattling.
Well, and then I also kind of have a question. So if that happens, say it happens relatively soon, maybe within the next couple of weeks or so. You said this week, Caleb, right? We should have a better idea.
Yeah, that's what Pete Thamel said.
What does that do for maybe like a Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, potentially getting the LSU job? Like those dominoes start to. Does that kind of ruin
I think the biggest thing to look out for is we are 2 weeks away from the Thanksgiving time, which that's when a lot of this is going to happen. That's when a lot of coaches that maybe aren't in the playoff are going to leave their schools to go to their new jobs just because they need to, based off of the way the early signing day is set up, the way the transfer portal is set up. So you're going to find out if guys at Tulane or USF, if they leave, go. So we're 2 weeks away from that. So that's definitely going to happen. And then another name I would like to bring up that nobody's really bringing up, and a guy that got exonerated, is Pat Fitzgerald. I think he's going to get a job. I don't know where. I don't know the fit of him. I wouldn't be shocked maybe if Penn State talks about it, but with what has happened to him, I don't think they will, just because I think it brings up some things. And I don't know if he fits in the SEC, but it'll be interesting to see if a school takes a swing at a guy like that. But no, to your point, Trevor, yeah, we're 2 weeks away from this really taking off.
Right, and Ole Miss is sitting kind of pretty right now, so I think that's just kind of crazy conversations that can happen. Like you said, Jerry, once this happens, we're going to see things kind of rapidly progress. So it's going to be interesting when we see guys who are, LSU is, like we talked about a few weeks ago, one of the best jobs you can get in the country. So yeah.
It's all over the place. I will make this one comment about Pat Fitzgerald, and we're going to leave it at this. If you're one of these top 5 jobs, if you sniff at Pat Fitzgerald, you're making a big mistake. I think he's a great coach. I do want to make sure we preface Northwestern was his alma mater. He's the all-time winningest coach there. And I get it. Legally, he's fine. All right. The thing about Pat Fitzgerald that drives me nuts is he was supposed to be this leader of men type. That was his whole brand, his persona, etc. I get it. You didn't know what was going on. And legally, he did not know what was going on according to the court. But if that's what you're known for and you don't know that's going on in your own locker room, that's bad. I don't care if you are legally free and someone will take that swing. I don't think he's a bad ball coach. He will do this. He'll be fine. But that's my big money concern. It's how you build your character in terms of a coach. Everyone's kind of built a little different, right? Elko's your ball coach. Loxley's your recruiter. James Franklin's your builder, right? As we look at these guys, Shane Beamer is supposed to be the hot young guy who had all the SEC, was experience. He was on all these staffs, etc. Everyone kind of builds their own thing a certain way. And my thought has always been with Pat Fitzgerald, first of all, I got all the time in the world. And two, for all the stuff that was happening, even if, again, legally is fine, if you don't know that's going on in your locker room, that's not a good sign. Even if you don't get in legal trouble, even if you can go coach again because you're not going to be a Title IX concern, etc., that should be a red flag. But who knows? He'll go somewhere, win 9 games every year, and I'll look like an idiot because that's how this works because there is no logic.
No, but that's a great point, Jerry. I mean, what you said, I think is perfect, right? Is a guy that you would expect to know. He claims he didn't know. Stuff did happen. And, yeah, I mean, it will be very, very interesting to see kind of what happens. But, no, that's a very, very good point. All right. Creepy Photo had a comment here. This is more for Trevor because I have no idea. I didn't watch it. I'm sure Trevor did.
I watched a bit of it. Islam, he's the GOAT. I love Islam Makashayev. But yeah, and Valentina Shevchenko, she's a stud. So yeah, it's really cool. There was like a funny like Dylan Dennis thing, like trying to like rush to the octagon afterwards. But yeah, no, Islam is probably the best UFC fighter in the UFC right now, and he's not that old, so it's probably going to go for a while. So yeah, really cool. It was a big night last night for UFC. I kind of forgot it was happening because there was so much college football going on. But I did keep up with a little bit of the Islam stuff. So yeah, very exciting UFC. I am excited for one. I believe that UFC events will no longer be pay-per-view. That they will be on like NBC or I don't know, whatever it was.
Paramount. Yeah,
Paramount.
It'll be with CBS.
Which is awesome because for any UFC fight, you have to have ESPN Plus, and then you have to pay for the pay-per-view. And so it's not like you have ESPN Plus so you get the pay-per-view. No. You have to pay the $80 or whatever just to watch pay-per-view. It's disgusting, and I hate it. And that's why I sailed the high seas for as long as I did. And then 2, the White House thing is going to be funny and cool, and I'm excited for that. But yeah, I'm excited that maybe Jerry and Caleb will join me on this UFC adventure once it becomes not a $90 ordeal every month.
I can't make any promises, but making it way easier for me to see does give me some level of enticement.
Yeah.
Well, that, and I hope that it didn't like start at like midnight.
Oh no! This fight, the Islam fight was the main event. It definitely started at like midnight, probably.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're going to alter that at all. But dude,
11 o'clock Central.
Yeah, there you go. It's like catching a Big 12 game, dude.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible.
No, yeah. Especially the ones I do like though are like when they're like in Abu Dhabi or something. So it's
like 9 in the morning.
It starts at 9. The main event's at like 3 p.m. Those are pretty nice, but yeah, I'm excited for that. It's gonna be fun when more people are watching it and stuff. Which is, I mean, you know, Paramount's been throwing around that money. They bought South Park for like $1.5 billion or something. So they're throwing that money around.
They're trying to buy a lot of
people too, but it's okay. Game recognizes the game. It's all right.
They're doing what they can to make money. I mean, that's just how it is. So here we go. Luke Hoxie here before we get into the upsets. His sources are telling him that Carnell Tate's done for the season, so definitely.
I did see that. That's a big deal. We're not going to talk about Ohio State much because they were whatever day the NBC game, which also
the night NBC game at 7:30.
Jesus Christ.
UCLA without their quarterback. Yeah, it was gross.
Yeah, no, that's a big deal because Cornell Tate is a solid receiver. He is the number 2 guy to the best receiver in college football, which I think gives him an inherent boost that very few wide receivers in the country get. Because, like, you're going to guard Jeremiah Smith if you have any sort of brain cell or defensive-minded thought. But he has very much benefited from that. That's a huge blow to a team that has best been – we're going to keep winning and no one's going to question us. That's kind of been the Ohio State team this year. Respect it. The question marks are going to start a little bit. Just a little. I don't want to do anything because they've been very good. They still took care of business without him. But if that's – I've seen that on Twitter. I don't know how true that is. But if that's the case or extended period of time, it's like scoop.
Well, I'm just going off of Luke Hoxie. I feel like he's always right. So we'll see.
But
he also could be spilling some stuff for the Michigan game in a couple weeks. Like this is you gotta remember how he thinks sometimes here. He's one of those Michigan scumbags. All right. Now we move into some upsets. Michigan was almost upset by a 5-5 Northwestern team. Clemson knocked off number 20 Louisville 2019 on Friday night. I called it. These ACC Friday night games are terrible for the high-ranked team.
Yeah.
Navy bounced back after losing 2 in a row against number 24 USF, winning 41-38. The last 2 non-power fives who have been in the playoff, they've lost after being ranked. So we'll see if that continues. Arizona knocked off 25 Cincinnati, 30-24, Big 12. Other than the top 2, maybe top 3, looking a little messy. And then Virginia, number 19 Virginia was 6.5-point underdog to Duke, and they ended up winning 34-17, just making the ACC even more messier. But it kind of looks like there's 2 clear teams atop of the ACC that potentially get to the championship game, but there's Miami lurking around.
Well, it's just where you lose and how you lose, right? And that's kind of been the thing with the ACC this year. Is you take a bad loss when you're Miami, and boom, here you go. You take this loss when you're Louisville, and boom, there we go. Yeah, it's a good old-fashioned battle of bid. We talk about teams that are going to steal bids. The ACC is a one-bid league, and that's fine. There was a world, and I think, Caleb, this was our title, and we talked about this, that the ACC could have no playoff spots. That dream kind of died with the other upset this week of Navy USF, because you do get the 5 highest rated conference champions. And Miami's kind of sitting, I think, at their peak in the college football rankings. They can't get much higher. They don't have anyone on their schedule that really makes you go, yeah, nor are they going to be in the conference championship, ? ACC is weird. But shout out to Virginia on a backup QB going in and destroying Duke. That was highly necessary to make this a little less turbulent for the ACC. The almost upset of the week, if we're talking about, almost being on this board, Georgia Tech surviving Boston College.
Hey, dude, they're scrappy, man. They're a scrappy team. Trust me.
Yeah. You want to talk about,
I sweated one out 2 weeks ago.
You want to talk about utter chaos? That would have been it. And shout out to Clemson and Dabo Swinney getting to do the little old Clemson. Nothing scarier than a Clemson team that's out of anything meaningful. And Dabo Swinney being able to pull out the little old Clemson. That's all we are. No one gives us respect. All this. They're like 5-5. Don't deserve respect, but they just beat out a Louisville team that's bad vibes all around. Did we see the Miller Moss press conference? I don't know.
I didn't watch I watched the game. It was the nastiest game I've ever seen in my life.
It was disgusting. And the press conference following, there was some question to Miller Moss about sportsmanlike penalties and stuff like this. And he's like, that's a culture issue we're going to have to address in the offseason. I was like, whoa, that's not good. The vibes there, not good.
Not good. Not at all.
Hate that. But yeah, ACC is just disgusting. That's fine. The ACC Coastal lives forever. The Big 12, can we just be serious and say Texas Tech? And that's fine. I'm okay with us just being done with that. And USF has learned a very important lesson. You have to respect the triple. Blake Horvath back in this game. That's a big deal. Blake Horvath, arguably the best Navy quarterback we've seen in a long time.
Yeah,
period. They throw the ball enough. I'm not acting like this is a passing offense. Let's not lie here. We're all adults. But this is what Navy can do to teams. It makes it very confusing is if you don't respect the triple, if you don't prepare for it, it can bite you. And now, granted, that's not the reason Navy scored 41, but you get a little bit of a lead. You can run some clock off. USF had to keep coming back and trying to score. That's kind of a problem here. You have to respect the triple. And then when you have a really good quarterback, by Navy standards, I'm not saying Blake Horvath's your Heisman, but he's a good quarterback. Here we are. But no one wants to win the American either. I really kind of wanted USF to win this, not to disrespect our troops. But that would have helped clear the way for the possible no ACC playoff. But can't win them all. JMU, 12 seed.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like James Madison without a doubt. Go, Trevor.
Kind of breaking news. I don't know if you guys heard about it earlier, but Jacoby Brissett completed an NFL record 47 passes today. That's an
NFL record.
40. Yeah, 47.
I would have thought it'd been more.
47. That's a lot, dude.
47.
The way they throw now, though.
Yeah.
40. And they're losing.
Yeah.
It is 41-22 Arizona. Jacoby Brissett has completed 47 passes.
Yeah.
And they're down 20.
It's 47 for 57. That's actually a great. He's thrown 2 interceptions, but he has a pass rating of 96.8.
What in the Jameis Winston has happened?
442 yards.
Jameis Winston played football this weekend, and this is not Jameis Winston's stat line. That is insane.
He has almost 500 yards.
Yeah, 442 yards. He has 2
and they're
receivers.
Down 20.
He has 2 receivers with over 100 yards. Michael Wilson has 185 yards and 15 receptions.
Wait a minute. I picked him up. Wait a minute. I picked him up in my fantasy league. I need to see this.
Dude, good thing I have him on my bench. That's always great.
Oh,
my God. But
yes, yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. He has almost 40 points in my fantasy league. This is a wonderful day.
Yeah, I could have won that week. Oh, cool. All right.
All right. That's a soft spot for Terry. So
but yeah, dude, we'll get in the NFL a little bit more later. Oh my God, the Cardinals make no sense.
They're so gross. They're in very much in limbo. Yeah. So I mean, like we said, we did have a comment here talking about the playoff. He said 4 to 5 SEC teams, 3 Big Ten teams, unless USC beats Oregon, which isn't happening. Big 12 gets 2. ACC only probably gets Miami in, and then the G5. Now, I honestly think Miami's going to get in the playoff.
I'm in agreement with you with that.
I
don't know if they get higher.
I think that there's a good possibility Notre Dame maybe not makes the playoff. Oklahoma winning screwed a lot of stuff up. So it is going to be interesting to see kind of what the landscape is going to look like for it. But it is going to be very, very messy. All right, some other games before we get into the 3 games that we'll talk about. Oregon rolled Minnesota 42-13 Friday night. Like I said, Michigan walked off Northwestern 24-22. Ohio State cruised over UCLA 48-10. Indiana continues to roll, beating Wisconsin 31-7. Texas A&M came back on South Carolina 31-30. They were down 27 at one point. A state trooper got fired.
That's not true. He just got relieved of game day duties. Let's be very clear here.
Okay.
This is the state of Texas. No, this is not. This is the state of Texas. You think they're firing an officer over that? Come on. In College Station, no, he just got relieved of the day. He'll be back in like a week. No. But that was a bad omen. That was just a really weird game. Everything about that game was weird.
Shane Beamer was taunting the fans as he's going into halftime.
Marcel Reed for Heisman. That's our big takeaway from that game.
Stop.
Come on. Can we be adults here?
Yeah.
Okay. 3 touchdowns in that third quarter.
He also had how many interceptions?
I don't care. You came back for 27. You're telling me Julian Sayin or even Ty Simpson, who I was kind of riding that way for a bit, or Mendoza, they all have good stat lines. I'm just throwing it out there.
Did you see the stat? It was SEC teams in the last 20 years are 0-298 when trailing by 24 points or more.
Yep. And Texas A&M came back and won.
Yeah, I think it's like 286, one or the other. Yeah, an insane stat. And now it's 1-286.
Yeah.
That should tell you everything about this. And that's also why, again, I'm just throwing it out there. Marcel Reed for Heisman. I think it's more valid than you're giving it credit for, Caleb.
It's gross.
It is a little gross, but so was that game, and they came out victorious. Mind you, second half South Carolina, that was just disgusting. It's such a cliche in sports. It's a tale of 2 halves. It really was. Sometimes you just have to ride the cliche wave, and that is exactly what that was. I don't understand how that happened. I don't want to know how it happened, but it happened. A&M survives. A&M will just continue to chip away, and it puts us in a real scenario when we talk about another game that can get real ugly for their in-state rivals, but we'll get there.
Yeah, so then Texas Tech put up 48 on UCF. USC beats Iowa 26-21. Old Miss holds off Florida 34-24.
Did you see that Texas Tech put that linebacker in at quarterback and he scored a touchdown?
Yeah, they're trying to get into the Heisman vote. You want to talk about a Heisman campaign? You might not like the Marcel Reed Heisman campaign. They are trying to get that.
Yeah, he wants the Heisman so bad.
And honestly, with the way this year's going, why not? Yeah. I love stuff like this. I love a little chaos. I love a little bit of stuff like this. And you know what? I might be a crazy man, but at least I'm not starting the Gunnar Stockton for Heisman campaign. So you know what?
No, I wouldn't go there.
So,
some people have money on a running back at Notre Dame, Jerry. So we're trying to kind of push that campaign.
What if I told you there was a running back at SEC who had 300 yards yesterday, and he's not going to get close to the Heisman, and then we're going to talk about the guy who had 185 yards because there's a little bit of U.S. currency involved. Okay,
that's exactly what people want because one is a prestigious northern school.
Okay. Yeah, he came from the great state of Missouri. You're welcome. We're glad that our experts are helping out. All right,
Great.
Can't really root against the Catholics as a fellow Catholic, but it's okay. Mind you, some little kid from Mississippi dropped 300 yards, but we're not going to talk about it because he's not on a team like Notre Dame. That's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine.
Exactly.
But you know what? Notre Dame doesn't play at a big boy conference like this because they're in no conference when you have moments like this where you have Kirby Smart deciding that Steve Sarkisian is his little brother. This is
Sark is awful.
There's a little bit of like the proverbial, monkey on the back, and you have to get it off. Like this is quickly Georgia has turned into the team that Texas cannot take care of. Like in this, you have every reason if you're Texas to be in this game, and this is an ugly football game for the most point. And then Kirby Smart, according to him, I did not go back and fact check this, kicked the first ever onside kick in his tenure at Georgia for that game-shifting moment. That tells you two things. Georgia's been very good to the point where they don't really need to onside kick often. And two, that is some crazy stuff that you pulled that out of the middle game like this, because that's you just thinking, I'm better than this team.
It was perfect.
It is such an encapsulation of this game. Kirby Smart knew exactly what this team needed. In a game that was kind of a slugfest, you don't know what's going on. It's like 14-10. Boom. That's what you do. And then it rolled from here. Georgia's giving me like those national title Clemson like team vibes of just, it's November. Cool. We'll just start playing better. Like they've survived some other teams. They've gone back and forth. They just kicked into a gear that I don't know how many other teams in the country can handle right now. And they're getting right and they're getting good at the right time. I'd be worried if I'm anybody else in the SEC. This is a tough team. I think they have like a nothing game next week. Then they have Georgia Tech. That'll be a very good rivalry week game. Remember all the chaos there last year. But even if Georgia Tech comes out and wins that game, this is the team that's going to be in the playoffs. And I think they're very close to securing themselves in the SEC championship if they're not already. So this is a scary team, man. They kicked it up a different notch. Watch out in January with how they're playing right now.
No, they play Charlotte this week and then Georgia Tech. I think the only thing keeping them from the SEC championship, Alabama would have to lose another SEC game, just because they hold the tiebreaker over them. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But no, I mean, look, Sark in these big games has not been good. I think he's like 1-6. I want to say against like top 5 teams or something like that in his tenure at Texas, which 3 of those games would be against Georgia. Look, Kirby, to Jerry's point, it's like he's doing different stuff. He ran the play that Notre Dame ran against him in the playoff. They did that, I think, against Mississippi State, maybe, where you run everybody on the field and then you run them off. He's coaching not scared. He knows the team very well. Gunnar Stockton, it may not be a Heisman candidate, but he's a perfect guy for their team. Like, he's exactly what they need. They were able to run the ball against Texas, which was difficult to do normally. Their defense, it's so funny. They're like, oh, Georgia doesn't really have a pass rush. Guys always show up. They have 5 stars all over the place. And it's exactly what happened. Arch didn't play terrible, just didn't make plays when it needed to be done. And Georgia they look really, really good. And if it wouldn't have been for maybe kicking a field goal instead of going for a 4th down, they're probably undefeated. And we're looking at them as maybe the number 1 team in the country, to be honest.
Nope, it's fair. Again, Georgia's scary right now. They've done everything outside the Alabama game. And again, I just look back to that onside kick because that's the type of thing you do when you trust your team. When you think you're in a certain spot, you think you're in a certain place, you make a play call like that. Again, supposedly. I would think this be true. This is not something like Kirby Smart's just like bored is going to lie about. If you never onside kick and you pull that out, that's a decade plus now, I think he's at Georgia, right, of not having that film. You pull that out randomly, and it was exactly what Georgia needed to take over this game because you're getting in a weird spot, and it was just sometimes these moments write the whole story of the game, and that exactly did. Like, a good back and forth. Texas finally woke up a little bit. Like, I don't know, this is weird. Boom, big boy play, big time play call. It was aggressive, it was risky, and it was just what what they needed to absolutely manhandle Texas. And again, we're getting into some weird territory because A&M's still on the schedule for Texas. And you're talking about a team that snuck into the playoff last year and won a game, and everyone's like, oh, this to what are they now? Like 7-3, 7-4?
Yeah.
Like this could get ugly kind of fast. Not like a fire Sark. I'm not going down that path, but like want to talk about a team that had your number one team in the AP poll and you're not even to be sniffing the college football playoffs. Interesting year for Texas and something that I'm definitely monitoring, especially with all the hype Arch Manning got. Again, didn't think this is the Arch Manning blew this game. I'm not going down that route, but you had all the hype in the world, and then here we are. Georgia just looked like a better football team. I get it. It's in Georgia, and Kirby against top 10 teams at home. Pretty much a free bet, but oof, they look good.
I have the stat for Kirby's onside kick. So I asked ChatGPT, and they're saying that in 2017 he tried an opening kickoff onside against South Carolina.
Yeah, again, that's why I quoted Kirby to be smart here. And one of the weird parts is like I know Georgia in the past has done some weird squib kicks, maybe not like a true onside like we think of that were like might have been counted that way. Again, I don't know, but it should tell you something to some degree if it's not. We're going back to 2017, or ChatGPT is if that's the last time we, a recorded kick per ChatGPT. This is that should tell you a lot. But man, what a great play call and what a way to just write the whole story of the game with one 10-yard kick. Kind of poetic. I love the sport.
There's a question for you guys because a lot of people still have Texas like high up in the rankings. I don't understand it. Do you think like even if they were to beat Texas A&M, do you think that they get into the playoff? Because to me, after what I watched last night, they don't.
I am so it depends on the amount of chaos. I think the best way to think about Texas right now is that they don't write their own path. They do not control their own destiny. They're going to need some chaos to exist. Do I think they're completely out of it? No. Will the all-state predictor that is tied into the people that own the playoff rights and broadcast the playoffs and probably has the best inside knowledge tell you there's a not zero chance? Sure. But this is not, Texas has a real legitimate, they just have to do X, Y, and Z. They have to both do X, Y, and Z and hope everyone else does A, B, C to get them in this position. So I don't want to say they're going to 100% out. Teams are weird. Like the funniest scenario, Missouri had like a 1% chance. They're not going to the playoff, don't worry. But like you want to talk about utter chaos. What happens if Missouri walks in right now and beats Oklahoma next week and then is a 3-loss team and then beats, Arkansas? Would be great for me personally, right? But like that's the type of level of chaos we can have in this situation. Does that happen? I don't know, Jim. Like there's a lot that has to go a certain direction. And this again, Georgia's. I don't know how much of this was like, I think Texas is bad, to where I think Georgia is just good too. I'm not going to write them off of the playoff, but a lot of things have to now fall that direction. And that's not a spot I think Texas is expected to be in right now. And I think that's the overarching conversation is that you're sitting here with 2 weeks left in your season. You don't control your own destiny about even making the playoff. Not an SEC championship, not all other stuff. There's not even a guarantee you're in the conversation, depending on how things break. And that's from where we started to where we are now, a major development and something that will make next year, not that I want to overly gloss over this year, weird stuff can happen. That's why we love the sport. It's going to make things very interesting for Sark long term and how this season ends. I hope the Titans weren't watching, by the way. That'd be bad. Bad for them.
I would, Caleb, on Wednesday, maybe we should take a look and like basically everything that has to go right for Texas to make the playoffs because Jerry, you're 100% right. It's not in their hands. Even if they do, if they beat Texas A&M, that's a very good win to get into this conversation. The Florida loss continues to kind of age like milk with a fired head coach and all of these things. But losing to Ohio State week 1, come on, it's the number 1 team in the country. So I'm not there. Like Jerry said, there is a not zero chance that they make the playoffs. It just gets really tricky when we talk about the SEC and these, multi-loss teams getting into the playoffs. Because the SEC, where it just means more, they have these juggernauts of teams. And if we go, well, yeah, but they lost to this team. Oh, yeah, but they lost to this. It's like, well, you can just do that for basically every SEC team that hasn't lost outside of the, outside of the SEC. So it gets tricky, and that's why I kind of like that there's room for debate in this. There's definitely, no matter what happens, there's going to be people, even if they lose to Texas A&M, there are going to be people who are arguing that Texas should be in the college football playoff.
Yeah,
and I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing. I think that's why this is fun, is because when we find out who those 12 teams are, there's going to be a lot of debate around it, and that's what keeps the sport exciting. But yeah, Caleb, I think we should maybe check that out on Wednesday and just kind of react to it.
Yeah, we can do that. We'll also see what the rankings look like and kind of where they rank them. Maybe they don't move down. I know they didn't. I mean, they didn't move Iowa down a lot after their loss to Oregon, but that game was in a late second field goal. This was domination.
Yeah.
Luke Hoxie says if a 3-loss team who didn't win their conference made the playoffs, fold the sport. We're going to get to that when we go to 16 teams. I mean, it's going to happen. Without a doubt. Moving on to now a team, Trevor, you called it, but a team that really messed up some things when it comes to the playoff, because I think a lot of people I expected them to lose and kind of not be able to have a shot at the playoff. That would be Oklahoma, as they, those darn Sooners knock off the Alabama Crimson Tide 23-21 in a game where Alabama got down and they just couldn't dig themselves out.
Bad uniform matchup. I hate to admit this. There's two teams that have great uniforms individually.
The white pants were too much.
It's just I hate. This is one of those bad spots where it's like neither team's gonna be like, we're not changing our traditional uniform because we have all this. That sucks. It was a fantastic game, but Trevor, to kind of build off your point of like we have these debates and stuff like this. The one thing I like about the 12-team playoff is you can point to moments that screwed you over or got you in. And right now, depending on how Oklahoma ends their season, depending on how Bama ends their season, this is a game that's going to get pointed to a lot.
Yeah.
Right. And then coming into this game, Bama has a chance to solidify themselves close to the SEC championship, to have a big boy win, and to, frankly, in our minds, probably knock Oklahoma out of the playoff conversation. A lot of teams riding on this, and then boom, Oklahoma comes in and survives. This was an ugly game, kind of back and forth. I have a lot of questions about Oklahoma's offense long term. They kind of confuse me. John Mateer, my question with him is like, did we get a little too much John Mateer early in the year when they're kind of playing nobody, and maybe he's not like fantastic? I have no clue. I don't think next week's gonna be the way you answer that. It's Missouri. Don't worry. It's Missouri in a big time primetime game. So Oklahoma, you can chalk that for a win. Bama's big $1 million question was stopping the run and running the ball. And guess what they didn't do in this game? Either of those. And it's going to be a real question mark, I think, for the rest of them. But this is a chance for Bama to make that statement win, to really, one, knock a team out, and then also really push forward to the future and get themselves in a great spot. But here we are. But you can't look at these moments. And when we look 2 or 3 weeks down the line when the final playoff rankings come out, you can look at this game, depending on where this goes, and say this was a defining moment. And that's what's awesome about this. We didn't have this in the 14 playoff. You had teams that are undefeated that you couldn't go, well, this and that. No, you have this now. Like, you have 2-loss teams, 3-loss teams, and you can play yourself in, you can play yourself out. And this was a perfect example of that, Oklahoma playing themselves in, keeping themselves alive as long as they can. And we'll see where this goes. Ugly game. First loss for Kalen DeBoer in Bryant Denny, if I read that correctly. So the Black Hoodie of Death might get retired. Who knows? What a weird game. What a weird week. Ty Simpson's still a very good quarterback in my mind, even though he has like one bad fumble or pick a game.
Yeah, this is like made everything for me so much more interesting because so many things were created and almost created from this game. Texas beat Oklahoma. And then, just going back to that conversation, this is just like Jerry just said, these are the conversations that happen when you have a 12-team playoff. I think it's nothing but good. You guys covered this really well. I called it. So you know what? I don't get them all right. I don't even get half of them right. I don't even get half of them right. But when I get them right, darn it, I get them right.
No, man, this is big time. I don't really, The scary part is that Bama has a chance here to solidify a playoff spot, but they have to do it at Jordan Hare. I forget who they have next week. I think they also have a legitimate game next week. I've not gone too far into the next week's schedule. We're in a busy time of life right now. But
they play Eastern Illinois next week.
Yeah, that's a good team. That's a good team.
Hey man, I love some EIU rep. Game recognizes game, but there's Bama's chance at a playoff situation here lies in Jordan Hare. And I get it. There are a lot of teams and a lot of fair complaints that 12-team playoffs. Everything is playoff oriented. If you're not in the playoffs, you're at a bowl game. Who cares? You're starting to think about transport and stuff like that. We're coming into rivalry week, and that's the stakes. An Auburn team that has nothing to lose, is trying to get a new coach, still has talent on that roster, as we've seen. Right? That's not an untalented team. There's a lot of players I would love to have if I'm an SEC team that's on Auburn right now, versus an Alabama team with a lot to lose, an Iron Bowl that has fantastic history. It might take some teams out of the sport. I totally understand that argument, but it also creates some really big moments when we come down the stretch. So, man, that's fun. There's a lot of fun stuff here. For Oklahoma, it's not a guarantee either. Missouri, I think they take care of. Again, I know I went there. I know I ride for them. Primetime Missouri's not been good. And are they still playing Oklahoma State this year? Or
they finished with LSU.
LSU is the funniest thing ever. Oh my god, that's great. But there's beauty of this sport. But yeah, and that chaos will also hurt teams like a Texas that now do not control their destiny and stuff like that. But there were moments for every team as we get to that bubble spot and that becomes more clear. Every team has had their opportunity. And one thing I've always kind of thought is you can play your way into the playoff, but if you're having to discuss, we should have over XYZ team. This is the problem I had last year at some the Ole Misses or South Carolina. It's you could have beat a team. Last year, Ole Miss beats Florida. They're in the playoff, but they did it. That's their fault. You got to win your games. You have to be good all year. But it's not we were never going to have a state conversation again, which makes me very happy because I hated the whole discourse around that. It sucked. It was bad for the sport, the situation that went down that year. But now if you're sitting at 11-12 and you're debating over a little bit of strength of schedule, this and that, you had your opportunity. Now I'm going to make that very clear in the next couple of weeks when we talk about as the playoff kind of settles in front of us. For those teams that get knocked out or feel like they're getting screwed, I almost can guarantee you had your chance. You blew it, and you put yourself at the whim of somebody else.
Yep.
Not, oh, man, the playoff committee just hates you. No, they don't. You had your chance.
The other thing, too, with Oklahoma is potentially if they were to win out, they may have stolen a spot from somebody that, maybe another ACC team could have got in or maybe another Big 12 team could have got in if, the way the dominoes fallen. So that's, I think, is what the biggest thing with that win is it essentially maybe have stolen a spot that we didn't expect the SEC to get. And maybe if Texas Tech were to lose in the Big 12 championship, maybe they would have stayed in. Now they might not have. That happened last year with the SMU and Clemson thing where it was we got to keep them in. So, that could have changed a lot of things. Another team that's fighting to make the playoff, and they made a statement yesterday, Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The guy on the screen right there, number 4, Jerry, that's the Heisman front runner. We're pushing that campaign around here.
300 yards.
I don't care.
Oh, but he had 150 and a touchdown.
Did you see his touchdown? Did you see his touchdown run? You were talking about Heisman moment. He spun. Look at the picture, Jerry. He made that guy.
Again, I respect the dollar as much as anybody else. So I respect your endeavor. I respect you making the campaign. I hope that Notre Dame has sent you the media guide that they're probably pushing out for Jeremiah Love. I understand it. I respect it. Come on, man. And also shout out Notre Dame here. I'm not trying to be a Notre Dame hater. Look, I'm not. Jeremiah Love, St. Louis product. Shout out CBC, who's doing really well this year in high school football, by the way, a powerhouse type program. And is that all this love? Notre Dame's doing what they have to do to keep their spot. And I think that's kind of when I look at Notre Dame games this year, my only question is because I don't act like every team is a cupcake, but it's not the hardest schedule in America. I think that's a fair thing to say. I don't think I'm being a hater by making this point. But when you have a schedule you could take advantage of teams, you need to beat up on teams. You need style points. So for Pitt to be hot, get the kind of fringe ranking, I get it. There's the folks who be this is just propping up Notre Dame. They got this ranked game on this. It's not Notre Dame's fault that Pitt decided to be good. and decided to start a freshman quarterback, and he started figuring it out, and then he didn't figure it out in this game or that college game day went there. That's not Notre Dame's fault. But for them to come out and be the better team in this whole game and not just like, oh, yeah, late score, this and that. No, Notre Dame was the better team against Pitt this whole time. And I think Jeremiah Love's a prime example of this. He is one of the best running backs in the country. I will also push that. I don't think that's a lie. I'm just getting respect for my little old Lamont Hardy there for 3 bills in an SEC game. That's fine, though. It's okay. The kid from Mississippi didn't get recruited from Mississippi State. So I dropped 3 bills on him. But no, Notre Dame needs to win, but also win comfortably, which they did here. That's a big deal as they try to just slowly put that spot in, because right now they're in my mind. They're a team, talk about control your destiny. They control that destiny. They just have to win out. I think they're one of that's kind of the vibe here. That's what the playoff rankings have kind of told us and what we've seen. But to kind of keep yourself safe, you can't make this a 3-point game. And they did it. So shout out there. Pitt will always confuse me. I just hope they keep having somewhat of a competent offense, because it is much more fun when Pitt has an offense that makes sense, i.e. the Kenny Pickett year.
Yeah. So, like we talked about last week, Caleb, this is was seen as Notre Dame's last real test. And, I think that they had one very good loss, one other one that's not aging very well, but at the time was a very good team. So if they can beat Syracuse and Stanford decisively, I think that Notre Dame should make it into the playoffs. Thank God Texas A&M figured out against South Carolina. This would get a little more interesting. But, Notre Dame should make it into the playoffs if everything goes right.
Yeah, I think my gut feeling is they'll make the playoff, but I do think there's a chance they don't make the playoff. I think there's some things that could happen. But, yeah, I mean, look, they looked good. I thought it was going to be a close game. I thought Pitt was going to come out and play, but Notre Dame got on top of them really quickly. Did some things. They left some points on the board too. I mean, there's some things they still have to clean up, I would say. The 4th and goal play was terrible. Run the ball. I mean, you have Jeremiah Love. Run the ball. Pat Narduzzi and Marcus Freeman now hating each other, I think it's great. Pat Narduzzi calling a timeout to then score a touchdown in the last play, and then they had the handshake where Freeman says that he just wanted to go celebrate with his team. I don't think he wanted to shake his hand, but he had to. So, I mean, people just are building enemies with Marcus Freeman, which is great to see because he's a great coach and doing everything he can. But, yeah, I mean, it will be interesting to see I think this week how they look at Notre Dame, the committee, based off like Alabama losing and stuff like that. In the 2 losses, I expect Oklahoma to jump them. So we'll see how that goes. So that could push them back to 10. But no, I mean, they're doing everything that they can to prove that they deserve to be in the playoff and that they have a shot at it. And that if they got in, they could be very, very dangerous. And Jerry, I don't only have money on him winning the Heisman, but I have money on this card right here. That's very expensive of Jeremiah Love, and so I need him. Like that helps build the resume.
Again, I respect the U.S. dollar. I understand that you have a vested interest. I'm not complaining about your vested interest. I'm just trying to be a realist here as this group. I get it. I'll never hate on you for trying to root for yourself and root for the U.S. dollar. And it's hard to make around here. Everybody's trying to make it out one way or the other. So no, I get it. You're trying to build it up. But again, I hope they sent you a media campaign. I hope you start. What is it? Let me guess. It's gonna be like a Heisman with like a 4 in it. Is that how they're doing it?
It's usually by Heisman.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, God. The only thing I hate about Heisman campaigns, I get why they do it. They do it every year. I don't want to act like this is a new thing, is half the branding for Heisman campaigns just suck. Or they're just very uninspired. And I'm going to tell you this right now. It's probably going to be 2 or 3 quarterbacks. Maybe Jeremiah Love sneaks in if he really dominates. I am a little concerned because Syracuse and Stanford are your last 2 games, unless he's dropping historic numbers that we might be done here. I don't know. But we just need Heisman campaign folks, PR teams. I know you have a lot of work. It's a busy season. If you have a Heisman candidate, that means you're doing a lot of good things right, and you're a very busy program at this time. Please think these out a little bit more. Please. Was a Heisman Doza or whatever. It was the one we had a couple weeks ago. Yeah, 4 Heisman. We can be not everything needs to be a hashtag.
The best one all time was Joe Theismann.
Yeah, like
And he didn't even win the Heisman Trophy. He literally changed his last name to Theismann and didn't even win the Heisman Trophy.
It's just there's so many better ways we could do this, and
someone needs to change their name to Heisman. That's what needs to happen.
Oh my god! And I don't know. And I don't know. I don't trust Heisman voters to do cool things either way. Last year, I was very concerned that they were going to pick a quarterback when you have a fantastic running back from the G5 and a guy who played two positions. So, like, I'm very glad at least one of those two guys won it last year. I understand the arguments for Genty too. Don't hate that. But again, at least we didn't do a quarterback last year. But we're very much going down this road where I could just see a three QB Heisman. Yep. Let's give me a Mendoza, give me Sayin. If Sayin doesn't throw a pick in these last two games and like they beat Michigan, he's there, right? Because I don't think he's thrown an interception this year, by the way. And that's going to be very fun for Heisman voters to look at. Mendoza has been staying in like fourth quarters. I get it. Like the Heisman race can be dumb. I don't trust Heisman voters. But if you're going to have a campaign, if you're a school that's running one, make it interesting. Give it a fun name. Not everything has to be a damn hashtag. Because no reporter or any Heisman voter is like, oh yeah, Heisman Doza, that's perfect. Now I want to do it. No, like, come on, let's be adults here. Let's do something cool. Let's not just do the same hashtags and hope that will get the guy that your kid to New York. I guarantee you, it's not going to be the reason that happens.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm hoping that it's changed up a little bit. Get some different breed in there, other than just quarterbacks, because this year it is so wide open. But time will tell. We have 3 weeks really of solidifying games. All right, moving on to the NFL. We have a breaking game just ended. Walk-off field goal. The Broncos defeated the Chiefs.
Woo!
This was the most, I'm very happy with this week in the NFL. Personally, one, obviously, Bears win. So
the Bears, best team ever. J.J. McCarthy sucks. Bears, greatest team ever. Caleb Williams, give him his
This is, one, a very good week of games. And two, it feels like everything is fitting into place where it should. All right. An ugly game went on Thursday night. That game was weird. Didn't make sense. The Patriots tried a uniform. Perfect. Throw it on Thursday night where you could do weird things and weird things work. All right. Ugliest football game, send it to Spain. All right. Divisional NFC North matchup, noon Fox or 1 p.m. Fox. Perfect. The weird AFC game that is disgusting and probably has some bad reffing in it, 4:25 Eastern, 3:25 Central. Perfect with the Chiefs Broncos. I think we have nailed this week. I'll give the NFL credit. They have nailed the scheduling of the games this week so far. The only one that's a miss, and I wish was in prime time, was another close one, which was Seattle-LA. That was a fantastic game that was boxed in on the second Fox that not everyone gets to see. That is the only miss, but we'll actually go through the games. A really good noon slate. Fun noon slate. The Bills and Bucks.
That game was so fun to watch.
Yeah. What is a defense? The question mark there. And the Bills decided to figure it out. Again, the Bears said, what if we just played better in basically every facet of the game, for the most part, but made it go down to a game-winning field goal? Because that's what they do now. This is what the Bears always do. The problem is they usually miss the field goal.
We usually lose, yeah. Lose.
So this has been a wildly confusing year. Hug your local Bears fan or your closest Bears fan, because it's only going to get weirder from here. Another part 2 of the Young Bowl, by the way, we got that. I forgot that was going to happen. That's a fun one to throw at 1 p.m. And then Carolina? Question mark? Exclamation point?
6-5.
Or is it Falcons? Exclamation point? Question mark? I don't know. Again, I want to go to the 4 p.m. game to explain the 1 p.m. game of Jacoby Brissett threw for 400, 47 passes, completed passes. Yeah. And this is the same week Jameis Winston played football again, and he wasn't the guy who had that type of stat line. Yeah, dude, what if this is I know I haven't said a lot of things that mean anything, but this is a really fun week. And again, I feel like everything's kind of played out in a way that makes these have a lot of questions, but is a perfect week 11 so far. Baltimore barely survived Cleveland like everyone does. No one knows what's going on in Arizona, and a team that has me as their third string kicker in San Francisco wins. The only one that's weird, and it's going to be a lot of people's mind, Chiefs losing a close one-score game. It's almost like the law of averages exists. They did this last year. They played a lot of one-score games. They have talent. They're not bad. But this year's one-score demon is the Broncos. They're just ugly. I don't understand how they play football. I don't know if they're good. I still don't. They've won 9 games in the NFL, and I could not tell you if the Broncos are a good football team. Seriously. I can say they have a good defense. Their offense makes no sense. And now they've just beaten the team that everyone thinks will win the AFC and go to the Super Bowl in a close game that they usually lose. Huh.
Did you guys see Shedeur Sanders' final game line?
Yeah, I just looked at it. It is disgusting.
Really? No
it is
way.
maybe the grossest thing I've ever seen in my life. About as gross as Myles Garrett having four sacks in the game. Myles Garrett had 4 sacks in the game.
And he lost.
Shedeur Sanders. So Dylan Gabriel was 7 for 10 for 68 yards. And then he got hurt, replaced. And Dylan Gabriel was sacked 1 time. Shedeur Sanders comes in the game 4 for 16, 47 yards, 2.9 average, interception, 2 sacks, a passer rating of 13.5.
And this is the guy who like mimes at interviews and says he should have been like the first quarterback taken, and this is the same guy.
Well, dude, we want to talk about perfect timing. This was like the one game we had like once a year where Lamar Jackson just lays an egg and doesn't play like an MVP candidate. Perfect timing for this game to happen. 2 picks, 193 yards, and they survive again. But everyone survives Cleveland. I feel like that's the thing about Cleveland. It's so weird. It's gonna be really sad when Kevin Stefanski doesn't have a job because he's a fantastic coach that just gets weird, nonsensical rosters, especially on the offensive end. And then this team is not good, right? Like I think I don't know what the Broncos are, but I know what the Browns are. The Browns are bad, but Kevin Stefanski every week puts out a team that just almost wins, can break a lot of hearts, but they don't do it.
I have a game that I don't understand both the teams, and you're talking about are the Broncos good? What the hell? Like I literally wrote down Chargers. What the hell? Yeah. Jaguars. What the hell?
Well, I made this point last week with the Chargers. I have no clue what to make of the Chargers. I learned nothing from last week, really, except that I thought the Steelers might be like kind of bad, and I was like, maybe the Steelers aren't that good. Maybe the Steelers are back to just being the Mike Tomlin mid team. Okay, and then they get murdered by the Jags. The Jags just give me the weirdest vibes in the NFL right now.
They're it's so gross, dude.
I don't hate them. I don't think they're bad. I don't know. I don't think they're good.
I like the Jags. Everything that I've seen a lot of good from the Jags.
They just give me weird vibes. Like I saw on Twitter one week, they're like, "Oh look, Liam Cohen's trying to get his own guy at a quarterback." And then this week they beat up a Chargers team that is by like 40 points. I'm very glad none of us talked about Houston, Tennessee. There we go. We talked about Houston, Tennessee. But that's a perfect week 11 type game and matchup. That's where I said I'm very happy with this week and how it's turned out. Not like vested interest. I don't gamble for a reason. But like all the storylines and question marks that come out of here is like, you just have in the middle of all these great, close, weird games, Justin Herbert being out for the last 8 minutes in the fourth quarter because they're getting blown out so bad by the Jaguars. Like that just happened this week, by the way. Like, just throw that in there. Mind you, I think we have a barn burner in a very, very interesting game here at Sunday night. I know Trevor's heart is pumping.
Big game, dude. This is a really big game.
And then they're hiding an ugly game on Monday night. It's great because
the Cowboys getting another primetime game is ridiculous. Because all we're going to hear is, can they make the playoffs?
Dude, it's fine. I don't care. This is awesome because you know what? We had a great week of football. And Monday's the worst day of the week, so why not throw a terrible defense, a very movable object, against an awful offense, the unstoppable force? Like, this is great. Like, this is a great narrative, dumb game. Like, will Matt Eberflus figure it out against the Raiders? Will Geno Smith complete a pass? Like, that's the questions we're asking. It's dumb. It's stupid. It's a perfect way after you have your first day back at work. You're like, oh, man. Caleb, you wouldn't understand this. Oh, man. What a start to the week. Man, I can at least watch some football. And then this game will probably be weirdly close. And we're not going to understand why it's close. And then we started going back, and then you start watching action football on Tuesday. Just as God intended, man. It doesn't get much better than this. And we're going to have such a great narrative stepping point of like Dan Campbell's running the offense right now in Detroit. Is there trouble brewing in the Motor City? Dude, that'd be
This is Luke Hoxie here.
I love that.
He's a Lions guy. He maybe has inside sources.
Dude, then like
will be the Lions OC next season.
Dude, and we're gonna talk about Philadelphia too. The vibes there, weird, but they're winning. Does
A.J.
winning
Brown,
really heal
baby.
all? Yeah. Will AJ Brown start figuring it out? Is this the week that Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown repair that relationship?
I
Or
can see AJ Brown doing well tonight. I don't
Maybe.
know if that means that we're gonna do good, but I can see AJ Brown, getting a tutty, getting some passes. I can feel that. I'm terrified.
I'm really ready for the close game, and then AJ Brown does have a good game, and then the press conference is like, you can't fix it all in 1 week. This is that's what we're building towards right now. Like this trouble brewing for the former Super Bowl champs.
I'm so scared.
I think what helps the Eagles is that they're at home. I feel like the Lions are not the same team on the road. So I think that will help them that they're playing the Eagles. It'll help the Eagles that they're at home. I think they're going to kind of control some things. We're going to hear about how the Lions defense is banged up and they're losing guys. And, I feel like that's what we hear all the time. And I don't know. Jared Goff has 2 gloves on. Not good.
Again, but
as I'm looking at the pregame festivities here. And I think, Jerry, you made the point last week that Dan Campbell looked really well as the OC against the Commanders. So we'll see how it does against the Eagles, who's a very good defense and a mastermind behind it in Vic Fangio.
It isn't, remind me if I'm wrong here, aren't the Eagles coming off a bye? Question mark?
No, we beat.
That was last week. I'm getting all my weeks confused.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because that would have been even better.
They played who did they play last week?
Monday night, Green Bay.
That's right. Yeah, they had that disgusting game.
Gross game.
I forgot about that on purpose.
Yeah, I wish I could forget.
You won. Don't apologize for a win.
No.
It's hard to get wins in this league, Trevor.
Dude, me and Caleb were like, we have won 7 games. Start the parade. And Trevor's like, we don't talk about that win. It wasn't good enough. Like, come on, man.
You're so elite. You're an elitist that you're like, oh, dude. Like,
I am an elitist. I am.
I worry about the receivers.
The only win that matters is the Super Bowl win, man.
That's right. And then, you know what? For me, it lasts for about 2 days.
Okay, AJ Brown.
And then I'm back to the grind.
All right, I cannot wait. Now, if the Lions win, I want Trevor here on Wednesday reading a book, and all that. It's to regroup. Honestly, after the pie, that's what you should start doing for the picks.
Yeah.
You need your AJ Brown reading on the sideline moment. In the midst of me talking, I talk a lot. You have time to get through a chapter with all the shit I say here. So you could get there if you really tried hard enough.
I'll just hold the book upside down.
Okay. You don't have to LeBron James this book and read the first page and be done here. You could get through a chapter. You can start figuring out the plot points. This is a really fun week. We have ugly weeks, we have chaos weeks, but this just had a lot of fun. And it will set up a lot of things. Again, the only thing I regret is honestly if we were doing schedules proper, if you want to put all your best games in your best spot, you probably make Seattle, LA your Monday night game. And then you just hide the Dallas Raiders game. So in the 4:00 Fox slate when it's not the game of the week. And then you put that game, because that was a really good game, 1921. Big win for the Rams, a team that I just kind of keep eyeing because the NFC is just good. And Seattle is also good, but I don't know how good. I think they're good, but it's just like last year with the Vikings, are we going to hit a certain ceiling here with Sam Darnold? That's my question. This year he's been fantastic. I don't know if that's the appropriate way to think about this. But then you run up against a Rams team that you want to talk about teams that just figure out ways to win. It is the Rams. Matthew Stafford, the question was, is he even alive this year? Are they cloning him? Is his back too bad? And now we're like, is Matthew Stafford the MVP?
Oh, yeah. Me and Caleb went deep into that Wednesday.
And then my other final thought is I really hope that the Bears and Washington stop playing each other. And you're going to be like, why are you making this point? This is very random. Is now it seems like the winner of that game, their season just takes a dramatic turn. I did not realize Washington is 3-8.
They're terrible, dude. They're awful.
And obviously the Jane Daniels injury, I hate that. You want to see the best players play. I don't root for anyone's downfall, but again, last year the Hail Mary game for the Bears, they go out and lose 10 straight. It feels like a lost season. Caleb Williams becomes the most sacked quarterback in history. All-time bad vibes post that game. And I'm not saying that Washington is going to go down that route, but it's a lot harder for Washington to justify a lost season than the Bears did last year, right? So maybe for the sake of these two franchises, you never schedule each other again. Now, the problem is this won't happen because you have the two quarterbacks in the first round, same draft class. So who's the better quarterback, blah, blah, blah. So this is probably going to be played like 6 more times, probably all at Washington, because that seems like every Bears game is played at Washington. Sure. But yeah, I don't like the fact that that's become like a season deciding game for both of these teams. I'm glad I'm on the other side this year.
I will also say, so I guess the NFL can start flexing in week 12, so that's next week.
Thank God.
Start seeing some flexing possibly happen. And the Commanders, I didn't think that they were going to be a playoff team coming into the year just because their schedule was so tough. So they're 3-8 right now. They play the Broncos, the Vikings, the Giants, the Eagles twice, and the Cowboys.
You know what? They're probably going to beat us once.
Here's a question I have.
Do you expect them to beat the Broncos?
No.
Well, if we're talking about flexing games, because we're looking at week 12, right, next week.
Yep.
All right. Sunday night game is going to stay put. It's Tampa Bay, Los Angeles. And we'll get next week's slate. The 3 o'clock game, if I'm correct, is the Fox game, because this week was CBS. Right now it's Dallas, Philadelphia. I know it's a rivalry matchup. Does that get flexed for the Bears at the Pittsburgh Steelers at Chicago?
I doubt that.
Because the other noon slate, nothing crazy. Or the other one, if you want to flex into like primetime slots, maybe you say no. Indianapolis goes to Kansas City.
Ooh.
Does that go into the 3 p.m. Fox slot if we're doing that? Because, again, I don't see this. I see the night game staying put. I see Tampa Bay at Los Angeles staying there. It should.
Yeah, they'll stay there.
That should stay there. I'm trying to see the Monday night game here as I look at my second screen. Give me a second here, my friends. Is at Carolina at San Francisco. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
They won't flex into a Monday night position.
Get out of there.
But if we're talking about this, and maybe it's only a Sunday night thing, but if I'm Fox, I could flex. I would much rather have Indy at Kansas City than Philly at Dallas.
Yeah.
I get it, rivalry, all this. I'm not trying to downplay that as we have a Philly man here, but
I'm fine with it.
It's all about the Cowboys, though, Jerry. It's all about the Cowboys and how they have a chance to make the playoffs.
Hey, if you don't believe in Dak, it's time to start buying stock, I guess, according to ESPN and their constant coverage.
Dak is whack, man. Dak is whack.
But yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out how they're going to get LeBron James on their team someday. That's what I'm trying to figure out. All right, Jerry, here's a question for you. What are your thoughts on Western leading the MAC? You love the town that Western's in. You love it so much. Kalamazoo, the zoo, Kazoo, you love it.
Yeah, Kazoo, the brightest spot of Michigan, outside of every other part of Michigan. But shout out to the Broncos, man. I miss when PJ Fleck was there and they had that really, really fun team and program. And this is the one thing you love about the MAC is 1 year you can be below 500, look like nothing, that's bleak and barren, kind of like the other parts of Kalamazoo. And then next year you can show up and be fantastic, and that little stadium can be filled. And with the MAC being really chaotic and weird, you take advantage of these moments, and that's what makes that league very fun. Again, I've kind of compared the MAC and the Big 12 to be like the same vibes, just like 2 stars and 3 stars versus 4 stars and 5 stars kind of thing, where 1 year you can be kind of butt, next year you could win the conference. So, I bring bad juju to a lot of teams I root for, in case you have not realized. I watch the Missouri Tigers week in, week out. There was a great graphic that used the columns, which is our staple part of campus. We are 15-0 against unranked opponents, 1-6 against ranked opponents. I root for a baseball team that wins 40 games. The Bears have a winning season for the first time right now in years, and I don't know what to do. So, of course, I say Kalamazoo sucks. Western Michigan, not great. Sounds like a MAC title if I've ever heard it. So you guys may not like my opinion. That's fine. But if I'm leading you to success, I didn't start talking about Kalamazoo and all this, and then they went on and win a national championship in what city? St. Louis. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Wow, Jerry, Western Michigan goes stronger than we think. Luke Hawk says Western would have been in the Big Ten.
And those are fun teams, man. I miss the kind of coaching carousel in
Corey Davis, the wide receiver, caught 5 picks.
And what I think a lot of people get frustrated with college football, and it's for myriads of reasons and very valid reasons. But one of the things is that if you were a good MAC program and you're a good MAC coach, you'd move up, right? Like PJ Fleck did to Minnesota. And we've kind of lost that kind of balance. And I'm not saying this is a Western Michigan complaint or problem, but it is a general college football concern problem, is that we're going to have jobs open in the Midwest, and Jason Candle has been very good for years in the MAC, won't get a sniff at it. And if he wants to go to a bigger job, he probably has to become a coordinator. We've taken away the challenge it is to win in the MAC and how good you can be. Success in the MAC should translate to more, not just future coaches and future programs, but it means lots of the people who sit here, who watch the Ball States, who watch Ohio and Peter Navarro, who go to Kalamazoo and survive and watch that Western Michigan team, right? There's a beauty in this sport at these lower levels that is slowly being stripped away, not just by the weekday games, but the lack of overall respect for these leagues. So, I look back at these Western teams. I want that. I want the NIU. You want to talk about Heisman campaigns? I missed the Jordan Lynch Heisman campaign. That was awesome. That was the best part of the sport. You got people like me who don't care about DeKalb, Illinois, thinking about going to a football game there for a year. That's awesome, right? So, this is a long tangent to be like, yeah, Western's probably going to be great, and that's awesome. But, I miss that these, not just powerhouse teams, but these good teams in the MAC don't get the same amount of love that they probably should. So, as much as I dump on the city, as much as Kalamazoo is a dump, they're dumping some W's on some other folks. So, enjoy it where it is.
I love how you said they go to Kalamazoo and survive like it's Compton.
C&K.
Luke Hoxie said had 3 straight seasons with the highest ever recruiting class in MAC history and had Antonio Winfield, Tanner Morgan, and Bateman all committed before. He left for Minnesota. It would have been at UCF since then.
Absolutely. There's a
Probably,
world and I do think as much as Maction is fun and all these things, that has absolutely had some detriment to the pockets here, because ESPN and CBS and Pick These are all more concerned about having something that people might tune into on a Tuesday that is not, NCIS, pick whatever city or country at this point, and all these things. So this, you've turned real college football programs with people who really care and have a true fan base into filler TV content. There's a long-term frustration and problem. And again, we talk about the playoffs, this, playoffs, that. Western Michigan's having a great year. 2 weeks ago, if I remember, it was Ohio, Ball State. No, it wasn't that. I'm forgetting. There's another really great game that was sitting there on a Tuesday night that had huge MAC implications. We're not talking about it. Kent State won a huge rivalry game, and no one really talked about it. It doesn't make it even into the Wednesday headlines of the midweek. Those things are slowly being erased. The biggest MAC headline's been a cat. That sucks. And I love Pudge. I have 2 cats at home. Cats are cool. I'm not trying to downplay the cat part of this. But, you have a full league that can develop real talent and have some awesome things going on here. I mean, we talk about Steelers. That's Maction peak, right? With Tomlin and the guys he's brought in all these years. It doesn't have the same juice, and that's not the MAC's specific fault or the schools in the MAC. There's been a larger, broader issue in college football. CUSA's the same way. The only conference in the G5 that I really love it this way is the Sun Belt, right? Sun Belt's still kind of regional, still plays on Saturdays, etc. And we're talking about the MAC. Northern Illinois is going to go to the Mountain West. There's no mountain in Illinois.
Why wouldn't you, Jerry?
There's no West in Illinois.
It's all about money, man. It's all about money.
All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
That's all I got, Trev. Break some news. Make me feel a little better.
Jalen Ramsey said
he
struck Jamar Chase after the Bengals receiver spit on him.
Oh, another spitting incident.
Yes, and there is a video of the altercation. So I'll share that to you boys. But yeah, so a little Jalen Ramsey, Jamar. It'll make me feel better as an Eagles fan to know that other star players are also spitting on people. This video, I will say, it is much less clear that there is someone being spat on.
Spat. Should it be Spitgate or Spatgate?
Spitgate. No, that's great.
No.
Well, did that have my favorite thing ever in football, which is the guy punches the helmet? That's
so stupid. So stupid. He got kicked out of the game, I think, right?
That's my absolute favorite. But
also, Aaron Rodgers
this is like a high definition video too.
Yeah, it's good. Aaron Rodgers may have a slight break in his left wrist.
Hey, he plays the Bears next week. If we get some Mason Rudolph, that's fine by me.
It's like a Life Alert commercial.
Isn't that kind of been the second half of his career as a Life Alert commercial?
Pretty much. He should have
or his time with the Jets, if anything. That was kind of the best advertisement for Life Alert I've seen in a while. But don't worry, he's immunized or whatever to whatever injury he has, so he's fine. But rule change.
I had to catch that. Sorry.
Rule change I'm proposing live here for the NFL. Instead of us having these concerned about did he spit, is that, let him fight like hockey.
Yeah.
You know what?
They don't even let him fight in hockey anymore, really.
Yeah, but not the same. But like, I get it. It's not like the good old days that Caleb grew up in, stuff like this. But like, if they're gonna fight, honestly, you could probably isolate it. As long as maybe the only contingency is quarterbacks, because everyone's like, what if the quarterback is in the fight and he gets hurt? Fair enough. Right? But like, you want a receiver and a safety to go at it? Let him go at it. Let it be isolated. Let them fight it out. It'd be done. That's kind of what they still do in hockey to this day. You know what happens in hockey fights? You don't have 5 guys fighting in hockey. 2 guys fight.
That is very true.
They get mad at each other. They go get a penalty. Boom, we're done.
The one thing though, like with hockey, you're on ice, so like everyone's kind of like slipping, and like in the NFL, it's just 2 prime athletes just ready to kill each other. And
same with hockey. Yeah, they're slipping and sliding, but they got a whole boxing fist on too.
Yeah, but to Trevor's point though, there's like a respect with hockey. I feel like in the NFL there wouldn't be, like, who was the guy that ripped Michael Crabtree's chain off his neck, and he was like, yeah, he was gonna kill him. Or what was it? Cortland Finnegan and Andre Johnson got in that fight.
That was a good one.
Yeah, but you let them fight, and it's over.
Yeah, I think they'd murder each other though.
Yeah,
Jared.
someone is gonna get hurt. Like
okay,
with
a ref intervenes at some point, but instead of having like a 50-dude, instead of like a bad mix of hockey and baseball brawls, which a baseball brawl is like, I threw a pitch, I'm gonna storm the mound, and everybody, even the guys all the way from the bullpen that aren't gonna do anything, just run out in like solidarity.
Yeah, I
don't need that, right? If we put a mix in here, because like in hockey, okay, they let them fight for a bit, and then if it gets like, if someone starts being that, you know what? Refs step in, people step in, they claw it out. Like there's some level of rule here, but like you have guys wearing pads, and instead of us doing this thing where it's like a big blowout and you could probably get over with it, and you know how much fun, because I feel like a lot of these fights are like receiver versus safety or cornerback based.
Yep,
that's 2 similarly statued men, like a good receiver and a good cornerback, same type of build to some degree. It's not like, we're getting a lineman fighting the quarterback. Like,
oh, that would be bad. Yeah,
that'd be bad, right? Absolutely, I get it. But like, that feels like more fun. Like, you imagine all those years Odell Beckham was going against, I think it was Jalen Ramsey, and they were going back and forth. Like, one fight there would have solved so many problems.
Him and Josh Norman too.
Yeah,
I think like with hockey, you're on ice skates on ice. Like we're like no one is generating an insane amount of power when they strike someone. You can, but on the ground, you will. Like you will generate. So I think maybe they have an impromptu hamburger drill. Like where they just have them both lay on the ground on their back, and then the referee just flips one of them the ball and blows the whistle.
The Oklahoma drill to the side of that. Yeah. Oh, that's
whoever
awesome.
loses gets kicked off the field, and the other guy gets to stay.
Honestly, I love that too. But something where you just have a high moment of violence, between the 2, and you're done.
Or like one hand behind the back, they can hit with one hand.
I just feel like it's a very dude way of solving a problem, which, okay, how many times you heard the story of 2 guys who were friends who were really mad at each other, they fought, and then they hugged it out, and they were great. There's a bunch of bad, and again, a lot of these NFL fights too, a guy punches a guy in the helmet, and they act like they did something. No, like, this could just get it all out at once, and if it gets too bad, then you have intervention. We do it in another sport. It works really fine. All I'm saying. But instead, now we have Spitgate, and did Jamar Chase spit enough, or was he just talking? Was Jalen Ramsey, did he allowed to do this? No. Like, now we have all this. We could just bat this over with. It's been done. We had a fight. We're over.
My favorite Spitgate, well, I guess it wasn't really Spitgate, was the Chris Paul, Rajon Rondo.
That's the same person.
Chris Paul and Rajon Rondo are the same person?
There's a deep level of joke here. That
oh, my God.
You're going to slip through a lot of heads. That's fine.
Jerry is... He knows more NBA than I think people would give him credit for.
I will give him credit.
That's the same person.
Oh my God!
There's levels to this one. There's a. We're not going to talk about the NBA yet, but we're moving up here. This is the top of the Jenga blocks right now. Okay, like.
Hold on here. I'll check.
There's some good lore there that is very funny. That is a great we're going to watch Sunday Night Football here as we probably start closing it out. Caleb will do his great decree. We've kept him here for 90 minutes, by the way.
Yeah, I'm starting to die again.
We're getting to the end. This is like Scottie Pippen back in the day when he was like real hurt and he still took that game winning shot in Game 6. Like this is like
no, this is the Jordan.
This is not Jordan flu game, dude. We didn't lose you. We're not carrying you off. You're going to go back.
Coxie says best spit gate is Keith Hernandez and Kramer, Seinfeld.
I can't wait for everyone to turn to like CIA operatives when it was Watergate for like 20 minutes, but a different water, or the JFK assassination tapes. It's the same type of vibes we do here, and I hate that. When we could just fight.
Jerry wants murder on the field. That's what we learned today. Jerry wants murder on the field. Yeah, I watched the video. It doesn't look like he spit, but who knows? Very high definition video from the side. Where that came from. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Jalen Ramsey, I'm sure, will get suspended a game, and that'll probably be against the Bears, and that helps the Bears. So I'm rooting that he got spat on and he went crazy and he doesn't play. That's just what I'm hoping for. Me and Trevor will be back Wednesday. I will hopefully not be dead or half dead. I'll be back fully healthy. Jerry will be back with us Sunday. And we'll break down everything. The NFL is the gaps are starting to arise between good teams and the bad teams. And we'll see from there, as I think we're back in like 2014, 2013 with the Broncos and Patriots both being 9-2 and leading the AFC. Life becomes full circle again. We're back.
Tell me Daniel Jones is – no.
I mean, this is where we're at. This is where we're at. We're back.
I will leave us on this. The funniest timeline is Daniel Jones and Drake May, a Duke-UNC rivalry in football, playing out to lead the AFC.
Oh.
And two teams that are blue. They write themselves.
Some deflating going on there. We'll see. So, yeah, we'll be back Wednesday, me and Trevor. And then Jerry will join us again next Sunday. We'll be back. As always, thanks for watching.
Peace.